Hello there! I am back, now that I'm sure anyone noticed, but I haven't made a video in a long time. I'm also in a new area. I moved, and so this is my art room. Here's all my art supplies. Wow. So nice. Yeah, so this is where we will be. I haven't made a video in a long time. I didn't really know what I was gonna do for videos. I was sitting watching, murder mysteries as I do, and I thought, why don't I do videos on that? Like, it's all I do. It's all I watch, really. I don't watch TV anymore. I just watch YouTube videos on different true crimes. So that is what we're gonna do today. So yeah, I will get this party started. Today we're going to be talking about James Patterson Smith and Kelly Bates. So this one is pretty gruesome. As I was reading through some of it, it was quite shocking, and I watch a lot of true crime, and this one was very disturbing. So when I talk about certain aspects of the crime, I'm just going to put a little warning and then a little timestamp just so you guys can skip past some of the more disturbing areas. And just before I get started, I just want to throw it out there that I'm not doing this to be disrespectful or hurt anybody. This is just information that I found online that I'm just throwing into a video. So let's get started. So James Patterson Smith, so he was born in 1948. He was an unemployed divorcee, and he was living in the Gorton area of Manchester. So he was married for about 10 years. That relationship ended because he was abusive. And then after his first marriage, he then went on and married 20-year-old Tina Watson. And it's quoted as saying that he used her as a punching bag. And also beat her while she was pregnant with his child. Tina is quoted as saying, "At first it was now and again, just a little tap, but in the end it was every day. He would smack me in the face, he would kick me in the legs or between the legs." So Tina ended up escaping this abusive relationship, thankfully, but right before she had left Smith, he did attempt to drown her in the bathtub. So after this relationship with Tina ended, he started seeing a 15-year-old. And her name was Wendy Mottershed. I think Mottershed. And he also attempted to drown her in a sink. So you see these behaviors consistently throughout every relationship that's documented. There's very much a precursor to the stuff that happens later on. But thankfully, these women did escape. He did not kill them. So then in 1993 is when he met Kelly Bates. She was only 14 at the time. He met her while she was babysitting. He offered to walk her home and make sure that she got home safe. And so from what I can tell, is he started grooming her from this point, and they would talk on the phone. I don't really know how often they saw each other, but he was definitely grooming her for quite some time. He met her in 1993, and then in November of 1995, she was 16 years old, and she ended up moving in with him. So that's 2 years. I don't know if in the time between that he abused her or not. I couldn't find that anywhere. I'm assuming that he probably would have. 2 years is a long time for someone to fake who they are. But I really couldn't find anything on that. So she moved in with him in November of 1995. And when she was living with him, she did continue to talk to her parents and family, but it was only over the phone. They never saw her alive again after she moved in with him. And Kelly's mom is quoted as saying, "As soon as I saw Smith, the hairs on the back of my neck went up. I tried everything I could to get Kelly Ann away from him." And this is something that I've found, and I truly believe, is, you know, there's just some people that you meet and you just get that like gut feeling that something's off. And 100%, I think that's something that should always be listened to and followed. Always trust your gut feeling. Yeah, so always trust that instinct. Always trust your instinct with that. So I'm just going to talk about Kelly Bates for a second. So she was born on May 18th in 1978. Growing up, Kelly loved playing sports. She dreamed of being a teacher, and she also briefly attended college while she was working for a graphics firm. She had pretty amazing plans and ambitions for her future, and stories like this are just so heartbreaking. I will get into it. The things that she experienced are just disgusting, absolutely disgusting. I don't know what else to say about it. It's so messed up. Yeah. So Kelly really started to withdraw, and the people in her life noticed that she also had bruises all over her body, and she would just explain those bruises away as happening from just random accidents. And then one day, Kelly told her parents that she'd gotten a new job, and because of this new job, she wouldn't be able to see them as much. And again, I couldn't find any real dates on this information, but I'm assuming that that conversation happened after she'd moved in with Smith, because that's really when she completely withdrew from all the people in her life, but I don't have an exact timeline for that. I do know that she quit her job in December of 1995, which would have been about a month after she moved in with Smith. And while she was living with them, her parents were receiving birthday cards and anniversary cards, but Kelly wasn't the one signing these cards. Only James's name was on these cards, so naturally her family became concerned. Her brother did try to see her, but Smith just told him that she wasn't home. And so the family started to notice all these little warning signs and red flags, and naturally became very worried about Kelly. I've read a couple different pieces about this case. One says that the family contacted their doctor and the police, and the other one says that they contacted social services and the police. So I don't know if it was the doctor or social services, but people were contacted because the family was concerned about Kelly. Unfortunately, she was never checked up upon by any of these professionals, and it was said that they didn't check up on her because she was a legal adult. I mean, Kelly was only 17 at the time, so I'm assuming that in the UK you become a legal adult at a different time. That's what makes most sense, but she was only 17. So on April 16th, 1996, Smith walked into a local police station and told the police that he had accidentally killed his girlfriend while she was in the bathtub. He claimed that she had inhaled water and died following his attempt to resuscitate her. He also claimed that she liked to pretend that she was unconscious. I read that and I didn't really understand why he was saying that. Like, was he using it as an excuse as to why he wasn't able to resuscitate her? I don't really know. I don't understand why. I don't know. It was a weird thing to say. So the police arrived at the house, and it was clear that Kelly's death was not an accident. Her blood was found throughout the house, and the post-mortem examination reported that she had over 150 separate injuries over her body. 150. So with all those injuries, it was concluded that these were not a result of some kind of sudden eruption of anger, or like this didn't just happen in one day. She had very obviously been systematically tortured over a prolonged period of time. And so this is where I'm just going to put my trigger warning in, because I am going to go into what the report found, like the types of injuries. So I'm gonna put a little time stamp somewhere around here, and if you don't want to know exactly what happened to her, you think you know it's just too much, totally fair. just jump to that time and we'll pick up from there. Okay, so this is just a list of some of the injuries that were found on Kelly's body. So it was found that in the 4 weeks leading up to her death, she had been burnt with cigarettes and branded on the thigh with a hot iron. Boiling water had been poured on her feet and buttocks. She had multiple stab wounds caused by knives, forks, scissors, and they even found stab wounds inside of her mouth. She had ligature marks around her neck, which indicated that she had been strangled, and she had also been tied to a radiator by her hair. Her hands and her kneecaps had been crushed, which made it impossible for her to walk or even probably escape. In that case, she was very much stuck there to just get tortured by this man. She had been partially scalped. Her ears, nose, mouth, lips, and her genitalia had been mutilated by him. And both of her eyes had been gouged out, and the empty sockets where her eyes used to be were also stabbed. And it was determined that she could have been blinded for up to 3 weeks before she actually died. Yeah, so when I first read this, I was obviously in shock. Like my brain couldn't even process that, all of that she went through and that she experienced was just cruel and so, it's so hard, it's so hard to put in words, like, messed up, but that's not even a strong enough, like, there's no language for it, there's no language for this kind of evil. It's absolutely disgusting what he put her through. I can't imagine. It's just shocking. It's shocking. And so sad that somebody so young went through this. And for a very long time, like about 4 weeks that they know of, like that. I don't know, it's disgusting. So drowning was the official cause of death, or like final cause. I don't really know what you would say in this case, because I think all of the injuries combined is what caused this, but drowning was the official cause of death. And Smith had beaten her over the head with a shower head before she was drowned. The jury was told in the trial that this death for her must have been merciful, which is, I don't know. I see what they're trying to say because of all the things that happened to her and where she was, like where her body was and how she was mutilated. That, like, I guess I see why they're saying that it must have been merciful, but at the end of the day, she died and she didn't get a choice. So it's not really merciful, and I think it's kind of messed up to say that about somebody who was killed. I have a different view on death anyways compared to some people, just because I don't believe that there's any kind of afterlife. So this is what you get, and for that to be taken away from somebody that's so young is just so heartbreaking. So her father had to be the one to identify her body, and I can't imagine seeing her in that state, how difficult that would have been. I couldn't imagine having to identify the body of one of my loved ones. Nevertheless, like, if the things that had happened to Kelly had happened to them, I just can't imagine it. It would be so difficult, and I think probably traumatize you for a long time. You would not be able to get that image out of your head. So obviously Smith was arrested and the case went to trial. So he denied that he murdered Kelly. He said during the trial that Kelly would taunt him about his dead mother And when asked why he did the things that he did to Kelly, Smith said that she asked him to do it. It was almost like a challenge, like she would dare him to do it, and he would. Which, obviously somebody that treats another human being like this is a very selfish, egocentric person to begin with. But to do this to somebody's daughter or sister or family member, and then when it goes to trial, to completely deny it and to put the blame on that person after the things that happened to her is just so messed up. I don't know what happened to this man when he was younger. Maybe nothing did, but he's evil and he's vile, and it's just, there's not words for it. There's no words for something like this. So the evidence that was shown at trial was so disturbing that every single jury member accepted professional counseling after, because the things that they saw and heard were just so messed up. And it took the jury only 1 hour to find him guilty. So he was sentenced to life imprisonment, and the judge recommended that he serve a minimum of 20 years before being able to go out for parole. The judge said to Smith, at the end of the trial, "This has been a terrible case, a catalogue of depravity by one human being upon another. You are a highly dangerous person. You are an abuser of women, and I intend, so far as it is in my power, that you will abuse no more." So obviously this completely shattered Kelly's family. So I watched this interview where they would go every year to James's parole hearings because they were concerned that he was going to get out. And this is something that not only ended a life, but it completely destroyed so many other lives. And for what, really? Like, for what? 25 years after her daughter's murder, Margaret Bates died in 2020, so just about a month ago, just before Christmas, at the age of 65. Yeah, that is the disturbing case of Kelly Bates. I've never really read or heard of anything quite like this. Something I always wonder is like, why? And there's probably no why for something like this, but I just don't understand, you know, people that kill and people that torture another human being like this. Like, where does it come from? Why? You know, what happened? I don't know. It's sad. It's very sad. But yeah, that is the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It's kind of a new direction for me, a little bit, not really, but kind of. This video is a little more serious than other ones that I've done in the past, but I also think it's appropriate to be fairly serious, especially with a case like this. Yeah, so that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like, subscribe, share this with other people, all that fun stuff. And I will be back probably in a week, hopefully. My goal is to post every Monday again, and then we'll just see where it takes me. That was a heavy one. I don't even know what to say. That one is just shocking. That's not even the first time I've read or watched it, and I'm just still so shocked by it. Yeah, that is it. Thank you so much for watching this, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.